All right. Anybody need to talk anything before I call the case?
I think so.
All right. Then we are going to be on the record actually in 4 cases. The first one is 2021 CR 79, followed by 2018 CR 612, 2018 CR 67, and 2017 CR 529, all captioned State of Kansas versus Andres Cabrera-Contreras. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
May it please the court, Your Honor, the state of Kansas appears through Assistant District Attorney Mark Brinkworth.
Cabrera appears in person by video through counsel Michael Hunter on all matters.
All right. So here's what there was a global plea agreement that took care of the new case and the underlying revocation cases. What I intend to do today is go through our sentencing case, finish that up, and then we'll take up the revos. My understanding is there's going to be a stipulation to violation and agreement by the parties for the court to modify one of those, so that frankly, the spirit of the plea agreement was that a specific number of months in prison be imposed, and we are in the process of doing that. All right, Miss Whitman just emailed me. Let me check on that and make sure she's not having trouble getting in or something. Do you know, Mark, was she planning on coming as well, or?
Judge, I think she was just making sure that I made the sentencing. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't think she was planning on being part of it.
Yeah, no, it was just kind of the same thing that Mr. Hunter had sent me. All right, so I've called all those cases. I apologize. Did I take appearances?
Yes, Judge.
I did. Okay, so taking up the sentencing case, I would note for the record that the parties were in court on this case back on April 23rd, at which time the defendant changed his plea from one of not guilty to guilty. The court inquired and accepted, ordered a pre-sentence investigation, and set it for sentencing today. I've received that pre-sentence investigation. The critical findings are as follows. The primary offense of conviction is one of burglary. That is a severity level 9 non-person felony. The defendant's criminal history score was found to be that of E, as in Edward. That would leave him with normally with a presumption of probation. However, given the special rules number 9 and 27, which apply, it is a presumption of prison with a presumed underlying range of 9, 10, or 11 months. If he has to do his time, he'll be eligible for up to 20% good time credit and subject to 12 months of post-release supervision. If he were to be granted probation today, it would be for a period of 12 months to community corrections. I would ask you first, Mr. Brinkworth, did you have an opportunity to review the PSI, any additions, corrections, or challenges?
Yes and no.
Good. Mr. Hunter, same questions.
Yes, Your Honor, I've reviewed it. The additional charges, such as like the driving while suspended from Erland Park, I worked on all these, and so he's aware that I don't believe his actual score changed from the last time we were here in Wyandotte County.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, you kind of faded out there on us, Mr. Hunter.
You didn't believe his actual score.
Whoops.
Amanda, you went muted.
I was asking Mr. Hunter to repeat after you said about what you thought his score was.
Right. I believe it's the same as we were last time we were here. All the other stuff is I've worked on it. It's traffic. So we reviewed it. I've been working with him for 4 years now.
All right. I will find there are no challenges to the criminal history and adopt the findings of the pre-sentence investigation. With that, Mr. Brinkworth, comments upon sentencing today.
Judge, pursuant to the plea agreement, we would ask that you sentence the defendant to the mid-box on this case.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter, comments?
That's correct, Your Honor. On this case, I believe the plea anticipated standard findings. The mid box, 10 months.
Thank you. Mr. Cabrera-Contreras, now is your opportunity to tell me anything, if you wish to, in mitigation of your sentence today.
Um, Everything is understood. I just hope for the best, you know what I mean?
All right, appreciate that. All right, I am going to follow the plea agreement. I think it was well worked out. So that would, for the sentencing case today, cause me for the crime of burglary, severity level 9, non-person felony with a criminal history score of E, to sentence Mr. Cabrera-Contreras to 10 months in the Department of Corrections. It is a presumed prison case, and prison will be imposed. There will be no probation. He's eligible for up to 20% good time credit and subject to 12 months of post-release supervision. By operation of law and order of this court, this sentence is ordered to run consecutively to the probation cases that are also on the record for today. And for the record, we will take those up. My understanding is there's going to be a stipulation and a recommendation for a modified sentence term in those. Mr. Cabrera-Contreras, a couple of things. We're going to take care of all of this sentencing before we move on to the probation cases. I have a question for you as to your plans when you get out of custody, which hopefully with all the time that you've put in and your good time credit and all of that will not be too far in the distant future. Do you have status in the country, or are you facing removal after this sentence?
No, sir. I have. I was born in California.
Okay, good. Okay.
One question.
Yep.
I didn't understand what you said. Did that mean I'll be going to prison, or is there any
Yeah.
possibly that I can get house arrest or anything else?
The plea agreement was for a period of prison, and my understanding is, and what I intend to follow today, is to give you 10 months in on this case and then modify your other cases down to 10 more months. So your total sentence would be 20 months. Do you have any idea, how long have you been in custody at this time?
I'm going to almost 4 months, I believe.
All right,
Have,
so that'll come off the top. You'll also get 20% good time credit off of that, which is going to take 4 more months off. So it looks like you'll have at least 8 months plus whatever you had on your old cases. So you're probably looking at about a year or so in, and then getting out. Okay.
So there's no possibility of I can get either treatment or probation or house arrest this time.
Well, the agreement was that you would not be seeking probation in this case, and I don't have house arrest possibilities from prison. So it would either be that you get probation or you don't. You're presumed under the law to have prison, and the plea agreement that your attorney yourself and the DA worked out called for a period of time in incarceration.
Oh, so there's still a possibility that I can get probation.
No.
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 Well,
Oh.
right. Look, I just denied probation, and that was based on a couple of things. The first one being that you're presumed to go to prison based on the special rules. As far as being on probation, that destroyed your presumption of probation, and for this burglary being not the first on your record, so it presumes that you go to prison. I have so ordered, and in fact, that is in compliance with the plea agreement that you worked out with the state, which reduces the amount of time you were looking at all these cases, but also required that you understood that you were going to serve a prison term, albeit a shorter one than you could have faced otherwise.
Right. It
Okay.
also dismissed case number 21 CR10 in part of that plea negotiations. Dismissed an entire case.
Mr. Hunter, do you think it'd be helpful? Do you need any time in private with your client before we finish this up?
We can ask him. Andres, do you understand that it's 10 and 10 months like we agreed, 20 months total?
Yeah. So just one more question. What will I be doing out of how many months total will I be doing?
Well, We've already
But like
looked
I
at the
said,
numbers. Okay, great.
I'm going to follow this agreement, right? So you're gonna end up between this new case and the old cases being sentenced to 20 months. But you get credit for all the time that you've been in. You say you've been in about 4 months on this case. And I have no idea how much credit you have on the old cases.
We have 75 days, Your Honor.
How much?
We have 75 days, right, Mark?
I believe so.
Right.
Okay. 75 on this case or
75. We have 75 on the probation revocations, and then we have 122 on this one, making it 197 total is what Karen sent me, and I trust her. So about
Okay.
200 days.
So, kind of trying to do a quick calculation on that. That's about 7 months in, roughly, between 6 and 7. So that comes
6 and
off
right.
of your sentence.
Of
So,
it comes off of the 20, right?
right. So you're looking at about 14 there, but you also get
Right.
20% good time credit. As long as you're not a discipline problem in jail, you should get another 4 months knocked off for your good time credit, which means that you would be down to doing a total of about 10 more months.
Okay, so I'm looking at 10 months, most likely.
Yeah, and understand that these are quick approximations I'm doing here, but I'm confident that although it might be 10 and a half or it might be 9 and a half, that it's somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay,
All right?
okay.
All right. So when you do get out, what is your plan for, do you have a trade or a job that you think you're going to be able to go back to?
I still got my carpet installing with my father, you know what I mean? That I was working
Okay.
with.
All right. So when you get out, you're gonna need to pay your court costs. Mr. Hunter, remind me, are you retained or appointed?
We was appointed this time, Your Honor.
All right. Do you know what your bill is?
Not across both matters. No, Your Honor. There was the 21 CR10 case I've got to look at also.
Okay. So I'm going to be assessing the court costs. There are no supervision fees since you're not being granted probation. Attorney's fees, I'm going to make it I think a reasonable amount of $200. That doesn't mean that's what Mr. Hunter gets.
Yeah.
Just what you have to pay along with the
Yeah, sure.
$100 bids application fee. You don't have to pay a database fee. And I'm not fining you. So it's just going to be the court costs and attorney's fees, which are going to come out to be about $400. Well, I'm sorry, with the bids fee, about $500 total. When you get out, if I order you to pay that at $100 a month, do you think that's a problem?
Yes, sir. No, it's not a problem. I can
Not a
do it.
problem. Awesome. Okay. So that will be the court's orders as far as costs and fees go. All right. So,
Judge.
yes.
Sorry, there is a restitution request of $300, and that was
I'm
I'm
sorry.
seeing, right, I'm seeing that also.
so we get that. That was for I can't remember. Sorry, I don't remember his name right now. Ashanafi Tamiro. He was a victim in that. It was $300 that was requested.
All right. Objection to that, Mr. Hunter?
No, Your Honor, I see that.
All right, that restitution, it needs to be assessed as well. All right, so you have 14 days from today to appeal anything you don't like about your sentence. You may also be able to seek expungement of this conviction following a period of time after successful completion of supervision. As a convicted felon, it's prohibited for you to own or possess a firearm. Certain kind of deadly cutting instruments like dirks, daggers, switchblades, basically knives that could be considered deadly weapons. Do you understand all that?
Yes, sir. Okay, with that said, when I get out, do I still have, I won't have to do probation no more?
You won't be on probation. You'll be on a term of what's called post-release supervision. It's basically parole.
For 12
Okay,
months?
for a year.
Okay.
All right.
And will I be, do I still have to go through the RDU?
I assume so. I don't, DOC takes care of that, but I assume that the first thing they do with everybody is take them down to RD&U to place them.
Okay, so you don't know exactly where I'll be going yet.
No.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't have any idea. Like I said, I think they'll take you to RDU and decide where your placement should be and then get you there.
Right, okay.
All right. Now, Mr. Hunter, taking up the probation violation cases, I've received and reviewed the motion to revoke um, and the court summaries. My understanding is the agreement between the parties are that your client will stipulate that he violated those probations by means of picking up a new felony case, and that the parties are going to jointly recommend that in the 2017 case, that I modify the underlying sentence from 20 months to 10 months. In the 2018 case, that I imposed the 8 months, and that those cases were run concurrently with each other, but have to run consecutively by operation of law for a total of 20-month sentence. Is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor. And then the 18 CR 67 had been closed. So that's my understanding.
All right. Mr. Brinkworth, any comments on that?
Judge, just you follow the agreement, continue to follow it.
All right. So, Mr. Cabrera-Contreras, what your lawyer is telling me is that you agree that you violated your probation by picking up a new case, and that the parties are recommending that I modify that 20-month sentence down to 10. That I give you 8 months in the second case, but that's run concurrently to the other one. So you only owe us 10 on that one, and that they have to run consecutively to this new case, which also gave you 10 months, which is how we came to that total of 20 months. Do you understand all that?
Yes, sir. I just so it's the burglary charge and it's the violation of probation. What was the other one for that ran consecutive, you said? Right.
There were two violation cases, and frankly, I didn't look at the underlying charges on those, but it was your 17 case and one of your 2018 cases. They already closed the third probation case.
Okay. Attorney Hunter, did you look at that about they did violate me for not paying even though I was already off?
Right. You agreed to continue probation. So it kept you on probation to make the payments, but you never
Yeah.
made the payments. And so you're technically still on probation when you violated.
Right.
So
Yeah, because I
we're
was
stipulating that we have
yeah.
a new case. So we violated probation.
So even though I was already done, I just asked them to extend it so I can be able to pay. But that's
Right.
still the same thing.
Right. You agreed to stay on probation. Right. You should have probably just paid in hindsight.
Right. Okay. So that's why they violated me, and that's what I got the other violation for.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to follow that agreement as well. I will find that the defendant has stipulated to the violation of his probation, and he will be ordered to serve those sentences. However, in case number 2017 CR 529, the sentence is modified from one of 20 months in the Department of Correction to 10 months in the Department of Corrections. 2018 CR 612, the sentence of 8 months is imposed. That is concurrent to the 2017 case, and both of those are ordered to run consecutively to the case that we sentenced today. He's entitled to all the good time credit and jail time credit that he has accumulated. All right. I think that disposes of everything. I would ask you, Mr. Brinkworth, first, is there anything that I failed to cover today?
Judge, I just didn't get the amount that you want him to pay on restitution each month.
The total amount is $100 a month payment on the payment plan. The total amount is at $300 in restitution plus the court costs and $200 of Mr. Hunter's fee, plus the bids fee.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Hunter, anything you're aware of I failed to cover today?
Yep, you got all of it. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Then we will be adjourned. Mr. Cabrera-Contreras, I want to tell you something personally.
Yes.
When I approved your furlough for that funeral,
Yes, sir.
I had a ton of people call me and tell me that I would never see you again, that you were going to run and that you had places to go and that was your plan the whole time. And you know what? You turned around and you came back right afterwards, just
Yes,
as I
sir.
had ordered and all of that. And I sure appreciate you. I think it validated my trust in you. And I appreciate you doing that. Okay.
Yes, sir. I thank you for letting me go. You know what I mean? That's one of the hardest things I had to go through. You know what I mean? And from now on, I want to do the right thing. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, I appreciate that. And I think you're going to be successful. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.